Pigweed here. Today we review a summer ale and discuss OnlyFans. Hello and welcome to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crow Hill. Good evening, Crow Hill.
Good evening, Pigweed.
What is on your mind?
You know, sometimes there are things that happen that make me wonder about, like, what's the motivating force behind it? It seems like there has to be some intelligence behind it. It seems so coordinated and evil, and like.
Worse than just a group of bad characters.
Yeah, it's almost like there's this intelligence behind the scenes that's pushing things in a certain direction. And if I believed in the devil, I would think it's the devil.
That's the kind of thing he would do.
That's the kind of thing that the devil would do. But I don't really believe in the devil, so I have this hard way of dealing with certain issues. It's like, okay, what is it that's driving all these things that are all so uniformly negative and destructive if there isn't some intelligence behind it?
Yes, like pride parades.
There you go. Yeah. That kind of thing. Yes, so that's what's on my mind, and that ties in with our topic for today.
Okay, because can a fella get a beer around here first?
Well, I hope so, yes. So I found this lovely little Yellowfinch Summer Ale from Brooklyn Beer Farm,
right,
which is just up the road. We've been there a couple times. It's 4.5% alcohol, and it's fermented on over 2.5 pounds of hand-spun lemon zest. What does that mean?
You mean the entire fermenting tank of? Does that mean 50 barrels or per gallon?
Yeah, exactly. Is that per gallon, per 5 gallons, per 10 gallons, per 100 barrels? I don't know what that means. It's like hard to say.
Well, let's just say they did. There is some lemon zest.
Yes,
used in the process.
There's also another word that I had not encountered before.
What's the sentence?
This refreshing summer ale has a sapid citrus character.
Does it now?
I don't know sapid, so I looked that one up. It means strong, pleasant taste.
All right.
So let's see.
Let's see if that definition of sapid. I'm expecting something lemony and citrusy. Tell me if you're getting lemony and citrusy.
I'm getting a little bit of lemony and definitely citrusy, and so a kind of a odd aroma, to tell you the truth. I'm not getting a lemon aroma.
Yeah, I'm getting some lemon in the back door. I would say that summer ale, I think that's just a fun term, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a BG's. I don't think
probably
it's an actual
not.
Beer
it's
category.
Probably not a beer category, no.
But, I get it. Throw some lemon in there. It tastes more like summer.
It is a good summery beer, and I like the lemon zest kind of a flavor. I'm still not sure what I'm getting on the aroma. I have to think about that. But it's good. It's a refreshing, nice beer.
Now, I'm not sure if I'd call it sapid. Not since I just learned the word.
I wouldn't
a minute ago.
Exactly, since I didn't know that word until right now. So I wouldn't have used that word.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
It's just one word with a capital F, and it's it's all kinds of social media stuff out there. People are interacting all the time. And
people are always trying to find a way to make money off the content that they're producing, whatever that content is.
Yes, I would love to be making money off of the content I'm producing.
Exactly. Yes, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
So, but if you're a podcast,
right,
and if you're on YouTube or on Instagram, how are you making money?
So there's different ways. You can have a sponsor.
Right.
Where somebody pays you money to refer to them in the podcast. You can have your own ads, where like we would read an ad from Brookville Beer Farm or whatever, and then they would pay us for that. Or they can insert their own ad into the show. So there's various ways to do.
And that's called. And is that what they mean by monetizing?
Yeah, exactly. So monetizing is just finding a way to get money out of what you're doing.
But the company, but the YouTube or the Instagram is the one going, hey, this guy has 5,000 views a show.
Yeah.
And here's an advertiser over here. And they're in charge of that.
Exactly. That's another way you can do it, is you can do it through the native advertising in the system, where you can have an advertiser goes to YouTube and says, I want to advertise on all the shows that do beer reviews, for example.
Yes.
And then their ads would show up on our show because we do beer reviews.
And YouTube would cut you your little check.
Exactly. YouTube would take a cut and we'd get a cut of the ad revenue. So they're all different ways that you can get money for the content that you're producing.
All right. And now, so let's just say you do a cooking show where you show how to make recipes and you give the recipe out, and you've been doing this on YouTube.
Yeah.
And getting paid for it, and then you say, then OnlyFans comes along and says, well, why don't you just have subscribers go directly to your site, pay you a monthly fee?
Exactly.
Okay, well, that seems like a perfectly fair and legitimate way to generate income.
Yeah.
You just go directly to the person. The person comes in and they say, and you go, okay, it's I'm going to cook twice a week for a month, and it's $7.99 a month.
Yeah.
And you pay me that.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's an okay model.
It's a reasonable model.
And in this case, they take OnlyFans takes 20%.
Or let's say you're a musician. You write in songs in a particular genre, and you're not making enough from your albums and from your tours and whatnot, but you have a loyal fan base that wants to hear what you have to say. So,
and maybe even see pictures of you on vacation with your family.
Exactly.
Because they're a fan.
Yeah. So here you have your fans get together, and you say, okay, I'm going to charge $5 a month or whatever it is for you guys to hear my latest release and see me with my family when we're down at the beach and go fishing and whatever I'm doing. Right.
Teach you the chords of that
Exactly.
song that you love.
I'm going to tell you the story behind the song, and I'm going to all this
Because
other
you're
kind
a
of stuff.
fan, and this is only for fans.
It's for
a
fans.
great name.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly legit.
Everything about it so far is sounding just fine.
Yes.
It does not sound like the devil is involved.
It does not sound like the devil, and it's not creepy in any way. if you're really into, so we've got a guy we know named Marty Hill, who's a good country music singer,
right?
And if I might consider paying Artie some money to hear some of his special music, and
or maybe he's video from him in the studio as they are writing this song that hasn't come out yet, and you're such a fan, you're kind of fascinated with how that process works, boom, and that's worth $8.99 a month to you.
Right, exactly.
There's
nothing in the world wrong with that.
Possibly go wrong.
Well, here's where it goes wrong. Is when some 17-year-old hottie says, people would pay money to see me in a bikini.
All right.
And she starts, putting out pictures of her in a bikini,
and a sundress, and then some lingerie and yoga pants, and I mean, what else does a model do? They get paid by a magazine to look good in clothes.
Yes.
So why not go directly, instead of getting paid by the magazine? You get paid directly by the viewer.
Or, possibly
anything going on.
She could also possibly get paid both ways. Like she could have OnlyFans people paying her for the clothes that she's modeling for some other place, and then the brand could be paying her for modeling her clothes.
There you go.
You could be doing it both ways.
Is anybody being harmed here yet?
Not if it's just modeling. No. Yeah. So there's nothing. The OnlyFans model in itself, nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly legit for people to say, okay, I like this person. I'm going to pay them money for what they're doing, cooking, or showing me how to tie fishing lures, or whatever the heck it is. Right? That's a legit thing.
Sure.
It's perfectly fine. Unfortunately, what it's become, as with most of the internet, is it's become a place for porn.
Yeah, right. It's anything that avails itself of our worst impulses will eventually go there.
It'll go there.
Apparently, like photography, like somebody took a picture of a house and a barn and a dog and then a naked lady.
Yeah.
I mean, that happened really quick.
Yeah.
And Surprise, surprise.
It's not a surprise. It's just the way we are.
And so here, let me give you some numbers on this. 70% of its content is classified as not safe for work. So
Okay.
that's a polite way of
saying that. Yeah, you don't want this on your monitor.
It's at the very least softcore porn.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that's at 70%. We've got. Let me give you some. How about I give you some numbers before we get into the criticism?
Okay.
190 million registered users and 2.1 million creators.
2.1 million. That's good to know.
We have.
Because, the thing is, that's going to tie into the whole question of, can you really make money on OnlyFans?
Well, let me give you some numbers on that. 10% of OnlyFans accounts make 73% of all the money.
Right.
1% makes 33% of all the money. But there was another number. Where's the overwhelming number of...
Well, that's the old Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, 20% of the people are going to make 80% of the income. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. So the idea of risking your current career because there's so much money to be made.
Yeah, you're not going to make a whole lot of money. Unless you're in that top 1%, you're not going to make a whole lot of money.
And it's like 87% male.
Yeah.
Your viewers. So the OnlyFans takes 20% commission with subscription ranging from $4.99 to $49.99.
Okay. Yeah. It'd have to be pretty good for me to pay $49.99. Was that per month?
Yeah.
That would be pretty substantial to pay that much money. But there are people who do that.
Right. Male users make up 87% of its audience, which obviously it's not for the cooking shows and the fly fishing shows.
No.
Or you wouldn't have those numbers that skewed. So
it's not gardening. Yeah. So I would like to let's continue on this thread of what are the possible benefits for people who get into OnlyFans. So let's say you're the hot young 17-year-old and you realize that you can make money doing let's loosely call it sex work. Well, there's no pimps on OnlyFans.
I mean, there's no physical contact.
Exactly. There's no physical contact. You can set your own rules. You can say, I'm just going to wear yoga pants and a bikini top, right?
Yeah.
So you can decide how far you want to go.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get an STD from
unlikely
from doing stuff on OnlyFans, and it's sort of a safer form of sex work in a lot of ways, and there's a chance to make a whole lot of money. Now, not a great chance, but there's a chance.
Yeah. Well, there was an interesting number that I can't find. They're just talking about what. When you get into the median number, it's like a couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, that 1% is crushing it.
Yeah.
You have people making $20 million a month.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
So some gal in Podunk nowhere with a cute body is seeing these numbers.
And she says, I can make $20 million
and she's going, well, I haven't made it yet because, I'm... well, now you're being encouraged to go the next step. How about some of these notes you have about sort of the progression that this would take? You could imagine she's starting to make a little bit of money from her cute little sundresses.
Right.
And then you meet up with your fans only to find out that they're disgusting perverts.
Yes.
But they're paying, and you got to take it.
Yeah, so let's get into
the potential slippery slope of this.
Okay, so one of the things is they're always asking for more. So you're this cute, hot, young thing, and you're just wearing yoga pants and a bikini top. and you're, doing what you're doing, and your fans are always going to be saying, take off that top, take off that, there's always going to be, what's the next thing? What's the next thing?
Yes.
Because that's the nature. It's the spiral nature.
Yes. The money that you've already made, that you made initially, well, maybe it's not holding up any longer because they're losing interest.
Right.
Because
there's somebody else's. Did you ever see the, the Heartland Institute, their video called The Economics of Sex?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
yes.
It's a brilliant video. And basically what they're saying is, if Susie down the street is loose, then that changes the economics of sex for the whole neighborhood, right? Because if she's giving it away easy, then the other ladies in the neighborhood have harder competition, right?
Yeah.
It's you have to think of, to a certain extent, you have to think of sex the way you would think of any other commodity.
Yeah.
And if there's somebody giving it away for cheap, then everybody else has got to lower their price as well. And
exactly. So somebody on the OnlyFans, right on the scrolling past you, is showing a little bit more than you are.
Yes. So why are they going to pay you? Right. Why are they going to pay you the $5 when they can pay her the $5 and she's doing more?
And you're like, well, I mean, it's not doing anything wrong. It's just the same kind of pictures you see. Okay.
Yeah.
Until now,
it's a little more.
Right. Now you show your first nipple. And
then you're also, not only that, but you're also interacting with these people because the fans want to have communication with you.
Yeah, that's what they're paying for.
Yeah.
And they're gross.
And they're gross, yucky, mean people who are always asking for more, and they're going to be abusive,
right.
and they're going to be nasty. And
now you were already sort of technically objectified.
Yes.
But now you're really just becoming a sex object.
Yes.
Right? They're not really that interested in your favorite food, your puppy dog.
That's right. You've become, your whole purpose is an object to satisfy their sexual fantasies.
And what this does to you personally, it has to, you're a product.
Yeah. You're not a person anymore, you're a product. And you're constantly competing with all the other 17-year-old hotties who are coming along behind you who are willing to do more than you're willing to do.
Now, speaking of more than you're willing to do, I tasked you with the job of doing full research by getting an account and probing around a little bit. You failed me on that one.
I did fail you on that one.
So I don't exactly know how to answer this question. So when we're talking about these progressive stages of not wanting to get naked to getting fully naked,
right?
Does it just keep going to you get to the point of dildos and actual sex acts and and weird fetishes? Is all of that on there too, or is it just like softcore porn, naked modeling?
So
I should know this, but I'm guessing it's
my understanding of porn addiction, and I'm very thankful that I do not have a porn addiction, but a lot of people who do have a porn addiction, it just becomes this downward spiral. It's like you need more and more and more to arouse you. And so, like when we were kids...
I just mean, what are the limits of the platform?
What are the platform limits? I don't know. I assume that they're allowing...
anything up to child porn, and anything up to illegal.
That's what I'm assuming.
I'm kind of assuming that too.
I don't really know. But, when we were kids... The Sears catalog was incredibly titillating,
The bra ads?
Yeah. I know. That was like, wow, that was amazing. Now, anybody with a smartphone can look at naked people all day long, doing all kinds of creepy things.
Do you think a kid could get past parental controls that their parents put on their phone?
Of course they can. I mean, the kids can get past it. Like they've all already talked about that in school.
You only need one kid in the entire school to figure it out.
Even if you can't figure it out on Thursday, you've got it figured out by Friday because you ask your friends at school, and there is definitely this. Everybody has access to this stuff, and the more you get into it, the more you need to stimulate you. And the exact same thing is going on with OnlyFans, that your customers are always going to want more, and they're going to be dragging you deeper and deeper and deeper into this pit.
Right. So let's just say that a woman who's quit her job and she's trying to make her money there, thinking there's millions of dollars out there.
Right.
Okay, so the upside of the platform is you cannot download, you cannot forward, and you cannot take screenshots.
Well, apparently they can. Apparently people get around that. And there's almost always ways to get around that, because somebody who thinks that they're only uploading content for their customers, it gets out. Right. It gets out on the general internet.
So there must be a way.
There's always ways to do it. Yeah.
But at least, well, from a business sense, obviously you don't want to have one guy pay for your picture and then it becomes available to everybody on the planet immediately, because that's just not a good business model.
It is a bad business model, but that's the nature of digital content.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to prevent that from happening.
Right.
Because
you see the word. I'm only now figuring out what they mean by leaked photos. I was like, what is a leaked photo? It's like it was meant to stay within OnlyFans,
right? And
it has escaped.
Well, the difference is if you imagine an actual photo, something printed on paper, an actual photo. There's only one copy of that, and then somebody has to make a physical copy of it.
You
right?
mean like I'm not sharing this with the audience, but I do have an original from the 19 who knows whens with a certification.
With a certification letter.
Of Marilyn Monroe naked, and you can't... Oh, sorry. Almost saw a nip.
So, yes.
So let's just say you have this. How easily can I disseminate this copy around the world in a paper form?
In the paper form, not very well. But if you take a picture of it and put it on the internet, now zillions of people can see it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with this content on OnlyFans. You think it's private to some extent, only for your subscribers, but it's going to get out there and it's going to get out to everybody.
All right, and so let's wrap up this spiral demoralizing effect on women. You didn't go in there. You're like, obviously it's not porn. I'm just hot, and I'm gonna why not make some money off of it? And creeping, and then objectifying.
The customer is always demanding more,
and they're disgusting about it. And
if you did a little bit more, you'd make a little bit more money. There's always that temptation.
Yes.
And the other side of it, though, is you at some point women are faced with this question, which is, if I go beyond this limit, I'm going to be that kind of girl.
Yeah.
And to some extent, it's like a boundary that you cross where you say, okay, now I'm that kind of girl.
Right. You're right. So you go on this blind date, and she's got this, and she has an Instagram page, which is already a flag, but it's just her at the beach, and cute outfits before she goes out. And as opposed to on that same date, I also have an OnlyFans account.
Right.
Like, well, that can't be too bad, can it? Then you see it, and let's just say it's softcore, limited.
Right.
It still
devalues
you in the mind of your suitor.
Yeah. So high value men don't want to share their girlfriends with other men.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
And you've already been pre-shared before you even have your first date.
Right.
And that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
And so what are you saying about the woman who has sort of resigned herself to...
Yeah, so I think a lot of women have just resigned themselves to this whole model of marriage and family and kids and all that kind of stuff. That's just not me. I've already crossed that barrier. Now I'm sort of committed to this. I've decided, because of the monetary benefit that I hope to get out of this, I've committed myself to this other kind of a lifestyle. I've just admitted to myself that I'm whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's going to be. And that's really sad and disturbing.
Right. That I am, an internet slut.
Yeah.
And but you have just chopped yourself off the knees for all the potential possibilities you have.
Your family is going to be able to see this stuff about you.
Yeah.
And any potential marriage partner is going to see this stuff about you. If you have children, your children are going to see this. I mean, can you imagine how embarrassing it would be to be a 7-8-year-old kid, and then
who has an older brother, and this kid has an older. Hey, isn't this your teacher, Mrs. Jenkins?
No, I'm thinking of the 7-8-year-old kid who finds out that his mom's got a
from somebody at
OnlyFans. Yeah, somebody at school says, "Hey, I was just watching your mom last night."
Yeah, talking about mom jokes. I mean, it's not a joke. This is really
it's pretty disgusting.
It's really your mom.
Yeah. So the effect that it would have on your future career, your future family.
All right, can I do career?
Yeah.
So one of the stories that seems to bring OnlyFans that I become aware of is the cop that was fired, the teacher that was fired, the firefighter that was fired when they discovered that they have an OnlyFans. Mm-hmm. So this sort of brings to question, to what degree is what you do on your private time, let's just say you have a controversial podcast,
right? And
that your employer finds out and says, "Okay, you're fired." Well, what can an employer tell you that you can't do? And can they do it retroactively? Is this? I understand if it's already in your contract when you take the job,
right? Yeah.
You can't do these things,
right? But
what if it isn't? What if you're just working in an assembly line?
Yeah.
And then they come along and they go, we got a complaint from a customer that said that they saw your.
I don't think that area of law. I don't think that area of law has been worked out completely.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of difficulty about that, because if you're a school teacher, generally speaking, people expect a certain level of morality from school teachers. Or if you're a cop, or if you're a hold a public office or something like that.
Pastor.
Yeah, pastor. Yeah. So there's a certain level of things that you expect, but we really haven't dealt with that very straightforwardly and come up with what the limits are. So, I mean, for example, I think one time we were talking and you talked about some woman who was doing body shots at the beach. Where is the limit? Is the limit showing a picture of you in a bikini?
That's a good one, because this is pre-OnlyFans.
Yeah.
This is just on Facebook.
Right.
And so, yes, they're right. So it was a teacher. They're in the Bahamas having a good time. She's in a bikini. They're doing body shots. She posts them up there, and got fired from her elementary school teaching job. Now, I have my sister's a teacher and her husband's a cop. They've never had Facebook accounts.
Right.
And so that seems like the smartest way to go. But where is that line of because it wasn't softcore porn or anything like that. It wasn't even up to the OnlyFans level.
Right. Yeah, so that's a thing that we simply haven't defined yet. There are a lot of areas about the way we behave and the way we present ourselves that we haven't worked out. Like, for example,
are there equivalents pre-internet that you could say, well, it's just like back in the pre-internet day when you weren't allowed to do this? I don't know. I guess they're ethical violation, like you were in a back of the bar. Well, it didn't get out.
I know it didn't get out. For one thing, let's say you find out.
Everybody knows that this guy tells salty and bawdy jokes.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody knows this. Then there's this one time where he's caught on camera,
Yeah.
and now we're horrified. It's
Yeah.
like, everybody knew that he's this kind of guy.
Yeah.
But somebody took a phone with them on a camping trip
Yeah.
with the guys. So it's something about the medium that has changed.
Yeah.
It's not really that the behavior is worse. It's just that our reaction to it, based on the fact that it's been recorded in some way.
So I was in a position once years ago where there was a guy who went out after work. People were having drinks after work. I'm kind of upset they didn't invite me, but anyway, they were
Okay.
they were out having drinks after work, and one of the guys made some really lewd comments to a young lady.
Yeah.
Now this was not an office function. It was just people from the office went out and had some drinks.
Yeah.
So it was not on office property.
Right.
It was not an officially sanctioned office thing.
Okay. It's not a convention.
Not a convention. Yeah. And they were having drinks and people were, and he said some lewd things. Now, what he said was disgusting. And if he said that to my daughter, I'd have punched him in the face. But
can you be dragged before HR?
yeah, exactly.
When
For
you
doing
should-
that. I don't know.
That's great.
I don't know where that line is. And the thing is, we keep pushing all these things without answering these questions.
Yes. Public into the private and the private into the public.
Yeah, and we haven't answered them. We don't know what the answers are to these things. So so that is a big problem in this OnlyFans thing. But I think when it comes to OnlyFans, we're dealing with a couple levels above lewd comments at a bar.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about it's going to affect one thing people don't realize is that porn, whether you're on the giving or the receiving side, affects your ability to be intimate. There are there's apparently a lot of problems with men who can't get aroused in a normal way because they've been so.
Because I've seen 10 million images of tens.
Yes.
Naked, and this.
It's hard for them to get around with a 7 or something.
Right, and Susie from college, she's reasonably cute, but she ain't no whoever.
Right. So there is that a part of it, but it also on the woman's part. If she's if she's been objectifying herself in this way, it affects her ability to be intimate. So this is all such a destructive.
And if she's a porn consumer,
Yeah.
she's got some really high expectations about
men.
About what men,
That's probably
what men
not
are
going to be true.
What men are supposed to be able to
That's right.
perform.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's so many downsides to it. You're a 17-year-old hottie right now, but your value is going to degrade as you get older. And there's a million more right behind you, ready to take your place.
Yeah. Right. You're at 25, you're starting to get over the hill.
Right.
I mean, it's going to come pretty quick.
Yes.
And you can't erase the images, you can't erase the past, and you can't change potential suitors' minds if they've already got an impression about what that means.
So one thing, I watched a whole lot of videos about. I did not get an OnlyFans account because that's a line.
A lot of NSFW.
That's a line
videos,
I won't cross. Yeah, but I wanted to get into the minds of women who do this and how they justify this to themselves. Like what are the lies they're telling themselves to justify what they're doing against all these downsides? And one of them is, well, sure, there are going to be some guys who are not okay with this, but that's on them, not on me.
Is it though?
I know. Yeah.
Really?
So that seems like a bit of a delusion there. That if you know, if I know that women aren't going to like it if I burp and fart and have bad table manners, and I say, oh, that's on you, not on me.
Okay. Well, now you've just cut 78% of the pool out.
That's a pretty stupid. That's a pretty delusional way to look at things. To think about things that way. Also, some women that I watched on these videos were saying, sex is just sex. A committed relationship, that's a different thing. Sex is just sex. And I think that's so, it misunderstands the dynamic relationship of how all these things work together in the human psyche. Sex is not just sex. It's more than that. And then they'll be saying things like, well, I'm worth it. I've seen these videos of these women who say, they're decently attractive, but they'll say, look, I'm worth the guy who drives a $300,000 car and makes $500,000 a year, and blah, you know, they think that they're.
I saw this meme where she's like, well, he needs to be 6'2", make $300,000. You know, she has all these requirements, and he's like, well, what are you bringing to the table? She goes, me.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and walks out.
Exactly.
He's like, really? I mean, you just have all these requirements about what I need to bring to the table, and what, me? That's it?
There is,
your tired, worn out self?
There is, unfortunately, a segment of the female population that thinks that way. They think that they are worth so much. They've been told repeatedly that they are so valuable. And I'm sorry, this is not the way it works.
All they need to bring is
themselves.
Are you at least interesting?
Yeah. And so I think this whole OnlyFans thing is part of why marriage and family and raising kids and all that has been declining. Because a lot of these women, these OnlyFans women, are like, oh, I'm never going to get married anyway. I don't care. I don't care about the impact it's going to have on possibly getting married, because I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to have kids. Doesn't matter. I'll just make my money while I'm young and hot, and then I'll go off and do other things.
Yeah, and then you've made some money. You're 32, alone with cats.
Right.
And
you're going to live the rest of your life that way?
Yeah. Are you sure that was the right choice?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the way it goes. So what this does...
Do any girls, do any mothers show their daughters Chelsea Handler as what their lives could be like if they just...
If you could just be as good as Chelsea Handler.
Yeah, imagine that one day you too can be...
You too could be
49
much of a slut
and eating gummies and...
right.
But traveling and free and nobody responsible for nobody and nobody knows where you are.
Yeah, I think a big part of the problem is that we're not holding up the loveliness of a lifetime loving relationship as this is what life ought to be. You know, we're not holding up a standard of what a good life actually looks like, and people are willing to trade what they can get when they're young and hot for this long-term vision.
Right, with no real sense of its long-term consequences.
Yes.
All right, so as Matt Walsh would say, and today OnlyFans is canceled.
Yes, I think so. Now, I have a new prospective PNC principle that I'd like to propose, and you can tell me if you like this one.
All right.
Okay.
See if I sign on?
Yeah. Whatever, quote, empowers, close quote, women probably leads to their misery in the long term.
Yeah. What do they, in what cases do they say something that women are empowered by?
Yeah, they'll say women are empowered by cursing, women are empowered by being, crass and rude. There's probably some exceptions, but a lot of the things where people say this empowers women to behave this way, I'm thinking
right. So they the same women that hate men emulate men in being crass and promiscuous.
And they said it empowers them.
It empowers them to be like men when you've already said to be toxic masculine. Which you've already defined as the worst attribute.
Yeah.
But for women, it's empowering, and it's probably not.
Yeah. So let's kind of keep that in our mind as a possible PNC principle to add to the list. Yeah. All right. You got anything else for us?
Well, I don't know. We're gonna just do we talked about our guy in El Salvador, Nayib Bukele.
Yeah.
He's got a new program, so he's locking up everybody with a tattoo.
Okay.
Which is probably okay. And people are bad about it, and it's gone from the most dangerous country on the planet to the safest in the Americas. But he's not done yet. He's not done with those prisoners yet. What he wants, he's launched the Zero Leisure Plan.
Okay.
Right? So there's no lying around jail. Just because you're in jail forever I mean, you're just going to lie around it. And there's nothing for them to do. He doesn't have any games for them to play.
Right.
So they might even enjoy it. All prisoners in the country have to work for their food in prison and repair the damage they have done to society.
Why the heck not?
So they're out there painting over graffiti.
Oh.
They're picking up trash. They're planting food for farms.
Right.
Repairing the damage that they've done to society to earn their food.
Wow.
Do you think that's a violation of human rights?
Absolutely not. I think it's probably the best thing that could be done for them. I mean...
And I started thinking, you know what my real peeve is litter and graffiti. Mm-hmm. I just hate it.
Yeah.
Why can't we get our prisoners out there to pick up? Every time I stop, when I get off the ramp on the parkway, you sit there. First thing is I'm just irritated that people would come to a stoplight and throw their trash out the window.
Right.
But and the overgrowth of plants, weeds that have just been untended for years.
Yes. Yeah. Why wouldn't somebody clean that up? And why can't it be the prisoners?
And why can't it be the prisoners?
So what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to pay them to sit around and watch TV and sit out in the yard and lift weights and read books? No, they should be doing something.
And you know what? Most of them would prefer it.
And it's better.
Do you want to sit and watch TV with a bunch of criminals, or do you want to smell some fresh air and look around and see how life?
And it's better for them.
It's better for them.
It's better for their own souls to be out there doing something useful and productive and maybe redemptive.
Right. Come to this crappy underpass, clean up the trash, clean off the graffiti, and then to be able to stand back and say, I have done something positive and productive.
Yes.
I guess that's good for the soul.
The world is a better place because of what I did today.
Yes.
That is
a better lesson than sending them into anger management class or whatever.
Now I totally agree. The only negative thing I can say about that is it might be taking jobs away from some non-incarcerated person who could be doing the same thing. I think that's
what the argument is,
yeah.
But they're not doing it because I see the garbage and the weeds and the graffiti.
Nobody else is doing it, so why not get the prisoners to do it?
There was a time back in the days of Memorial Stadium that after baseball games and football games, prisoners came through and cleaned it, and that was probably a union thing. Right. But can you just really do we have to look at El Salvador to figure out how we fix our country?
Apparently we do. Yes. All right.
Well, so thumbs up to Naib and thumbs down to OnlyFans.
Yes. Unfortunately, there we go. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.